Retirement planning made so easy, even a retirement planner can understand it. All right, so we're going to go back to this white paper I've been reading. I've done a video on it before, but from 2018 NBER, National Bureau of Economic Research, from Arna Olfulson and Michaela Pagel, from one's from Columbia and one's from Copenhagen Business School. And it's interesting because this isn't that hard for me to understand. It shouldn't be that hard for most people to understand. But sometimes you need a caveman in his white T-shirt, still wearing the same underwear from driving yesterday from Wilmington back to where the hell I live in Georgia. Haven't changed, haven't shaved, haven't even brushed our pearly whites yet. That's how excited I was to do this video because I've been thinking about this on the drive. So I got to do this video because it's crazy to me that people don't get this. But sometimes you just need a caveman to lead the lost souls in their hoity-toity ivory towers and their freaking patches and their, what's the pipes and their, sometimes you just need a caveman from Peaks Island, Maine. All right, so retirement is arguably the most predictable and important income changes individuals encounter in their lives. And consumption should therefore not be affected by its onset. All right, so we got the reality, the assumed of retirement. We say, hey, we're going to retire. We would say our consumption would rise each and every year with inflation. It shouldn't change much just because retirement came in. All right, that's what everyone would think. We're going to increase it each and every year with the retirement, with inflation. They're no different than what we did pre-retirement. It shouldn't change that much because we were able to see it coming. So it shouldn't be any drastic change. The reality, of course, is consumption goes like this instead. All right, the consumption drops. So then the question is why? And that's a retirement consumption puzzle. Let's see. Empirical studies find a sharp decline in consumption during the first years of retirement. This isn't just the totality of retirement, it's the first years. All right, and so they're like, why? Why is that happening? All right, so now we're going to go into one of the causes for this, and we're going to see explanation of rational planning. I always like the rational agent. Economists love the rational agent. The rational agent would maximize profits and minimize blah, 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 blah. And you're like, well, that's what economics teaches us. And you're like, well, who's the teacher of economics? Oh, Paul Samuelson. Oh, okay. So Paul Samuelson, the godfather of modern economics, was he correct in his previous theories about things? Oh, yeah. Well, in 1989, Paul Samuelson predicted that the Soviet Union would overtake the United States in terms of growth. In 1909, he predicted that. Yeah, that didn't work out well. So why we listen to this guy, I don't know. Let's see here. Any rational agent will save before retirement, given that he expects a fall in income and to save after. So a rational agent will put money away while he's working. They use she. I'm patriarchal, so we use he here. Put money away, and then when he's retired, start spending down that money. That's called savings, all right? Let's see. However, we observe that individuals do the exact opposite. They're spending money down before they retire, and then they're saving it once they retire. They're dis-saving pre-retirement and saving after retirement. That doesn't make any sense. Thus, the joint observations of a fall in income, a fall in consumption, a decrease in consumer debt, and an increase in savings are hard to reconcile with a rational model of consumption smoothing. Why? And they give us a couple reasons. Work-related expenses go down, so maybe because people aren't working, they don't have as much expense in terms of getting their clothes dry, clean, driving to the office, all that. And we've talked about that before. It's small, but not much. Hurst and Aguilar did a study back in 2005, where they showed you that said, hey, people actually consume more money, more of they eat at home a hell of a lot more than they eat out, even though a lot of people think that go the exact opposite. They think, oh, you're retired, you can go out more to the bar and eat outside at restaurants. It's the exact opposite. People have more time and they spend more of they consume more of their food at home rather than going out. Pretty interesting. Small potatoes in the overall scheme of things, but it's pretty interesting. Opportunity cost of time. People actually have more time now to do coupon clipping. Another reason why consumption could go down. Yeah, it makes sense, but I don't think that's significant. But hey, it's something. Let's see. The big ones are wealth and health shocks. Wealth and health shocks are going to be the big ones. Mostly the health, but health, you got a sickness, that's what's causing you to spend less in wealth. And wealth would be, I don't know, you freaking Oprah Winfrey had some matches in Maui, you know what I'm saying, and she burnt your house down. Allegedly, she wants your real estate so she can give it to her rich friends and stuff. So That'd be a wealth shock. A health shock is what, all of us got to contend with. I got a sudden health. I don't know who I am anymore. I got a nursing home. And so you assume a health or wealth shock, what would that cause to happen? Well, you assume if you have a health or wealth shock and now you're retired, that your savings are going to go down. Your savings will go down because you're now dis-saving. You're like, oh man, I got to replenish what income I had with my savings, and my savings go down. We actually see people's savings go up in reality. So the consumption going down, people say, well, it must be because of health or wealth shocks. You're forced to spend less because you're sick. Okay, well, that would make sense, except we see saving going up where you would say it would go down in a rational consumption smoothing model. Kind of weird, isn't it? Yes, it is. And then going along the lines of a health shock, they say we find pharmacy spending falls upon retirement and is about 7.3% lower afterward, which strongly suggests that health shocks are not the reason the average household in our sample retires, because the pharmacy spending goes down. So having a health shock to forcing you to retire and thus decreasing your consumption is not the reason people are retiring. Why is consumption going down? That's, if you're going to attribute that to health shock, you say, why is pharmacy going down as well? And then you have to say, why is savings going up as well if the health shocks are causing you to retire? So check this out. We observe a fall in income, a fall in consumption, a decrease in consumer debt, and an increase in savings are hard to reconcile with a rational model of consumption smoothing. And they look at households and they say, hey, people are not selling their houses either. So they're maintaining their assets, their savings are going up, their consumption is dropping, the debt has dropped too. What is the deal with all this? And the answer is so simple, I'll tell you. People are resilient creatures. They spend to the extent of their guaranteed income. It's just that simple, man. The guaranteed income is growing as they age. And they get to a point here that they're like, hey man, I'm at my most income. I spend because I did not spend down here. I'm going to spend more, i.e. I'm going to take the kids to Hawaii like we did, i.e. I'm going to do this, that, the other. We did not go to Hawaii right here in 2007. We didn't have the income. We went to Hershey instead. Cost $4,000 bucks. It was a lot back then to us. We went to Hawaii this year. It cost 20 something like that $1,000. All right. We spend to the extent of our guaranteed income. Now I'm self-employed, so I have no guaranteed income, which is always scary. So send me a cup of coffee. Buy me a cup of coffee to make sure my guaranteed income increases. It's not for real, dude. I need that cup of coffee. Decaf, please. Anyway, so we always spend to the extent of our guarantee. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. When you're raising a family, your guaranteed income is low, your consumption is low, even though you have mouths to feed. When you're in your high 40s, late 50s, your guaranteed income is the highest, so you can spend the highest. It's just that simple. You spend to the extent of it, which is why annuities are so important to get people to freaking spend more in retirement, because it gives them more guaranteed income. The reason you have the difference there is taxes and whatnot, because we don't want to take on debt, and you don't. So what happens is your consuming follows your guaranteed income. Guaranteed income drives it. So the minute your guaranteed income falls off because of retirement, your consumption falls off too. It's just that simple, man. And the way to increase your consumption is to increase your guaranteed income. There's no two ways around that. How do you increase your guaranteed income? Well, you could work, or you could get an annuity. That's just all there is to it. You're going to spend to the extent of your income. This isn't rocket science. Now, why do people dis-save right before retirement? Because they are actually rational. They say we have to pay down our mortgages. We're going to pay down our mortgage right before retirement because we want to reduce our consumption needs. We know our income's going to drop. We want to reduce our consumption, i.e. paying off the house. So we're going to pay down our debt before we hit retirement. And sometimes they're going to sell down some of their assets to do this. I don't understand how financial planners don't see this. And I say financial planners, not just like me. I say like financial planners academia. They're saying, hey, why are you going to dis-save before retirement? That doesn't make any sense when you should be saving before retirement. They're dis-saving because they're saying, I'm going to spend some of my assets to pay down my mortgage so I no longer have to carry this burden as a part of my consumption because my income is going to drop. It's just common sense. You're sitting there thinking, I got $80,000 left on my mortgage. I got $80,000 on my brokerage account. I'm going to spend that down so I don't have to carry that mortgage debt anymore. It'll make me sleep better at night knowing full well that my mortgage is paid once I'm retired. Because what happens is my income's going to drop. And one of the reasons people don't do annuities, frankly, is because they don't like the idea of losing their savings. People do not like reducing their savings. I'm telling you, they do not like this. This is savings. They don't like seeing their savings going down. They don't. That's why they don't do annuities a lot, as much as they should, because they're like, I do not want to see it going down. And so they say, no, I'm just going to instead reduce my consumption. That's what I'm going to do, as opposed to doing an annuity, which would give me more consumption because I have more income. They don't want to do that. They said, no, I'd rather reduce my consumption to keep up my income. I'm not going to, I mean, some people do, but not many. I'm not going to dip into my pot of money there for my emergency money, essentially, in order to increase my consumption. I'll just get by without. So the point being is what we found is, what is obvious to me is that most people are living larger than they need to. They're spending more money than they have to. They're spending more money than they, frankly, probably even want to for enjoyment. But they're like, hey, I got the money coming in, it's going to go out the door. And when I go into retirement, less money coming in, less money going out the door, that does not take away from my satisfaction. There's no evidence that retirees are less satisfied. There's a little bit of evidence, but not much. Are less satisfied by spending less than they are while they're working. It just isn't. Because they're saying, yes, I'm replacing my consumption. I'm reducing my consumption. But I'm giving myself my time. And I'd rather have my time than my consumption as I get older. It's just a fact. All right. God bless. Love to hear your thoughts. Share that video with all the rabble-rousers out there who don't know what they're talking about. And don't forget to smash and subscribe. Only 45% of the viewers are subscribed. That's the wrong answer, dude. I need to get to 90,000. 90,000. I'm at 87,500. Help me help you help me get to 90,000. Hit that subscribe button. We'll see you.